Hello, we are back again with sample number 2 for the travel details, the first phase of the project. And the second sample I'm going to show you is Shanghai, China. And so we're going to go to our Google search bar and put in flight from New York City to Shanghai, China. Um, and we get that box again. Now I'm starting to be suspicious that the box may be sponsored by United because as I've tried samples, United comes up as the first choice and very often, but United has is a pretty big airline, has a pretty clear website. So for our purposes, we can use the information from United for our project, but to be fair, if you're really traveling, you might want to look around more, or if you would like to challenge yourself and choose some other airlines, feel free. But I'm going to show you the samples in United so that it's clear and consistent of where to find the information that we need to find. So in this box, remember that we want information for a specific time frame, whatever week you're assigned, and I'm modeling the samples on the first week, so we're going to go to Tuesday, January 6th, and returning on Friday, January 9th. Now, in this sample, it is coming up from New York. As I said, you can use Newark or New York equally effectively. Your times and flights and prices might be a little bit different, whether you chose Newark or New York, and that's okay. Slight differences are fine. Okay, so we're going to choose this flight. Please notice that it's 14 hours long and 55 minutes. If you look on a map, Shanghai, China is much further away than London, our other sample. Let's see what this information looks like. We're going to peek at the map first again to get some perspective here. And this is super interesting because you are, in this map, when we leave New York, we are actually going north and west over the North Pole, the top of the globe, and coming down in Shanghai on the other side. We're used to seeing maps that show us on the left side and Asia over on the right because the map is kind of cut here. The globe is cut and divided. This is showing you a little bit of a different perspective. It's kind of interesting how this is going to work. But it is a really long flight, and we're going to talk also today about the time zone and what happens in this flight. So let's go back to our notes that we're going to take to get ready to take some information down. And when we went to our flight choices, I skipped over to the map to give you that visual information, but we're going to choose this flight. Now, but here we run into the same problem again. The little +1 means that because it's such a long flight, if you leave at 9:55 on Tuesday, the way you're saying you want to, you won't arrive until 2 o'clock p.m. the next day. And this is because of the large time zone difference plus the long flight in going there. So we need to back it up in order to meet our requirements of getting there by Tuesday. So now we're leaving on Monday, January 5th at 9:55 a.m. and we're getting there Tuesday at 2:05. So it's a very, very long traveling situation here. We're going to choose that flight. Then it asks you to choose a return flight, and it only gives you 4:30 p.m. as a choice on Friday. We talked about how we really can't pick a flight before 6 o'clock because we have to make up things to do. That's our day of fun and adventure. We didn't want to cut it short. So you're going to change this to Saturday, and you're going to stay an extra night. So when you figure out this task problem, you're actually staying Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. So this is a 5-night adventure to make this trip happen. You're going to leave at 4:30 p.m. from Shanghai and return and get to New York at 6:10 p.m. That's only 2 hours later, and that's a super interesting way to really understand time zone travel, which we're going to look at in a minute. And we'll go over that in 1 second. So let's select the return flight. It says here it is an overnight flight. So even though we leave at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, January 10th, we're going to fly for 14 hours. So on our watches, it's going to go well into 4:30 in the morning, 12 hours and a little more, 6:30 in the morning. It'll be on our watches. But we're going to see that the time difference, because of the way the days hit Shanghai and hit us, we have to add those 13 hours back. We get them back. We lost them here. We get them back. I'll explain that in a minute. It's an overnight flight. It's often delayed. That we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to book again. You're going to click book because then this brings up an information with all of the stuff we need to do the project, but please don't confirm the booking. Okay, so the information we're going to put on our notes. The cost is $1,487. It's actually less expensive to fly to Shanghai than it was to London, interestingly, in the same time frame, basically. And the distance is almost twice as long, 7,386 miles. Again, we have that interesting route north over the North Pole. The travel time is 15 hours and 10 minutes, which is double the travel time that we had with London. We are going to add a day. We're leaving Monday in the afternoon, and we're not getting there. We're leaving Monday morning, and we're getting there Tuesday afternoon. So that's important information. The flight is United Flight 86. We're going to need that. So let's start getting some of our notes down here. This was a nonstop flight. Again, with United, it seems to be letting us choose a lot of nonstop flights, which makes the work easier. If it was a flight with a stop, you would just say that you're stopping and include the travel time of the stop. When you say how long will it take to get there, you just include that time. Okay, so the flight is United Flight 86, nonstop. Cost is 14, what did I say? 1487. And I'll make all this red later so we can find it. United Flight 86, nonstop, 1487, and we know we had to end up flying Monday through Saturday. And let's make that note because I like to put it in the report so that it's clear and we remember that when we're planning the rest of the trip. The distance was 7,386 miles. 7,386 miles, and let's start to see that one stayed red. Let's see. Let's make that red. Okay. How long will it take to get there? So the travel time is 15 hours and 10 minutes. That's how long you will be in the air. 15 hours, 10 minutes. What time will you arrive? Now, we will arrive at 2:05 p.m. Tuesday. That's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, if it is noon in Tuesday, what time is it? If it's noon in Shanghai, what time is it in New York City? So let's go to the chart. Shanghai is all the way over here. Shanghai is, let's look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 time zones, so 8 hours ahead of London. And we remember from our other example that we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours behind London time. So when the sun comes up and it crosses here first, actually China is ahead 8 hours from London, and that's 5 hours ahead of us. So it's 13 hours total that we are behind China. So China gets to start Tuesday, and we're still in Monday, like the middle of the day Monday. So they're almost exactly opposite of us. They're usually having the middle of the day while we're having the middle of the night. So they're kind of on the opposite, literally on the opposite side of the globe from us. So the answer to that question is 13 hours. And just in case you're having trouble understanding that chart, I asked Google, what is the time difference between New York and Shanghai? And it says in a pretty clear box at the beginning what the actual difference is. So Shanghai, China is 13 hours ahead of New York City. And if that makes sense to you and you don't understand the chart and the graph, just use that information to answer these questions. So if it is noon on Tuesday in Shanghai, China, what time is it in New York City? Remember, they're ahead of us, which means we're behind them. So we have to count backwards from noon for 13 hours. So if it was noon on Tuesday, backwards 12 hours is midnight on Tuesday. So actually, if it's noon on Tuesday in New York City, it's going to be 11 p.m. Monday. Because we haven't yet gotten to Tuesday, they're 13 hours ahead of us. So using that logic again, and kind of a math problem, so now it's 3 hours later. It's Tuesday at 3 p.m. And it's also 3 hours later. If it was 11 p.m. at night on Monday, 3 hours after that would be, to get to 12 p.m. or midnight, would be 1 hour, and it would be 2 a.m. in the morning on 2 a.m. Tuesday. So it's already the afternoon on Tuesday there, and we're just starting Tuesday here in New York City. And if it's 9 p.m. on Tuesday, they've almost finished with Tuesday. They've had most of their day go by, and 6 more hours later, because that's the difference between 3 and 9 p.m. If it was 2 a.m. on Tuesday, 6 more hours later would be 8 a.m. Tuesday. So when we are, getting ready to start school at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, they already are at 9 o'clock at night Tuesday night. So we have to really kind of think about that when we're thinking about what's happening in China in terms of news and activities and all that stuff. Okay, so we have our completed information. And again, just modeling what your report might look like. This was our London report, but I'm just going to add our Shanghai report on here. So we are traveling to Shanghai, China this week. And I don't know if you noticed it, but also known as People's Republic of China. You know that we could call the United States of America, USA, Republic of the United States of America. So we have a bunch of names for our country too. So in the flight information, it listed it as People's Republic of China. So we are traveling to Shanghai, China this week, also known as People's Republic of China. It is a very large time difference. They are 13 hours ahead of us. We will leave Monday morning on United Airways flight 86 at 9:55 a.m. I think it was, and arrive Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock p.m. That includes 15 hours and 5 minutes or 10 minutes of flying. Okay, so have I addressed all the questions? Let's go back to the questions a minute. We talked about the time difference. Oh, it'll be 786 miles. I want to make sure I say that. We will cover 7,386 miles and fly over the North Pole, because I think that's an interesting thing when you're talking about your travel plans, to show that you understand that map. Okay, so we have the flight, we have when we arrive, we have how long we fly, how long we travel. Is there anything else that's asked for in this report that we didn't talk about? We're not stopping in another city, and we can't leave until we're not stopping in another city. Our only choice, and again, we might have had other choices,